Bruchim haboim. Welcome everyone. We're about to begin Be'ezras Hashem together on Daf Ayin Beis Amud Aleph, the last word on the Amud, Itmar. The Gemara now brings a statement discussing further shkagos. Niskavein on the top of Amud Beis, Niskavein lahagbiya es hatolush, v'chotach es hamechubar potter. If a person has intention to pick something up, he dropped a knife, and he picks up the knife. While picking up the knife, he cuts something that's attached to the ground on Shabbos. For example, a plant or a piece of grass, and he detaches it, he cuts it. He's potter according to everybody. Here he's misasek. He has no intention whatsoever of what he is doing. He's preoccupied with picking up the knife, and he ends up cutting that which is attached to the ground. So therefore, he is potter according to everybody. Lachtoich es hatolush v'chotach es hamechubar. If he, in a different case, intends to cut that which is detached from the ground, and instead cuts that which is attached to the ground, there's a machlokes. Rava Omar potter, Abai Omar chayev. Rava says that he is potter. After all, he is preoccupied. He meant to cut that which is detached, and he cut that which is attached. And he's not considered to be b'shoigeg because he knows that it's Shabbos, and he knows that the malach of cutting that which is attached to the ground is osur. But here, he intends to cut that which is detached. So Rava maintains that he's potter. Abaye Omar chayev. Abaye says that it's still considered to be chayev. This is still considered to be a shoigeg, because he intends to then cut as follows. Rava Omar potter deha loy niskavein lechaticha de isura. Rava says that he's potter because he has no intention of cutting that which is osir. Therefore, it's considered to be misasek, and therefore he's potter even from a korban chatos. Abai Omar chayiv deha kemechavein lechaticha ba'alma. Whereas Abai says he knows that he's cutting, and therefore you cannot consider this to be a misasek, and whereby he's going to be chayiv a korban chatos. Says the Gemara, Amar Rave, min amina law. From where do I know to say that he's going to be potter in such a case where he intends to cut that which is talush, and he instead cuts that which is mechubar? Now, Rava brings a brisa quoted in Sanhedrin to then prove his point. The Gemara now quotes this brisa. The Tanya, it says in the following brisa, Choymer Shabbos mishar mitzvahs, v'choymer shar mitzvahs mishabbos. There's a stringency of Shabbos over other mitzvahs, and there's a stringency of other mitzvahs over Shabbos. The brisa continues, Choymer Shabbos mishar mitzvahs, the stringency of Shabbos over other mitzvahs, sheha Shabbos osa shtayim behelem echod, chayiv akol achas ve'achas, ma she'en ken b'shar mitzvahs. That in Shabbos, if a person does two malachos behelam echos, he's going to be chayiv akol achas ve'achas. Masha'enken b'shar mitzvahs. The brisa continues, and the brisa will then be explained shortly. The brisa continues, v'choymer shar mitzvahs mishabbos. There's also a stringent the other way, that shar mitzvahs is more stringent than Shabbos, as follows: sheb'shar mitzvahs shogag b'loy miskaven chayiv, masha'enken b'Shabbos. By shar mitzvahs is he shogag below miskaven. The Gemara will explain this. He's going to be chayiv b'shar mitzvahs. When it comes to Shabbos, he will not be chayiv. Now the Gemara comes to explain what we just said in this brisa. Omar Mar, choymer Shabbos mishar mitzvahs. Mar says that the choymer, the brisa that said that is choymer Shabbos, more stringent Shabbos than other mitzvahs, sha'Shabbos osa shtayim behelem echod, chayiv akol achas ve'achas, ma she'en ken b'shar mitzvahs. When it comes to Shabbos, when he does more than one malacha, he'll be chayiv for each and every one of them separately, a separate korban chatos. Ma she'en ken b'shar mitzvahs. Ask the Gemara, hey chidami, what is the case that we're referring to? If we're talking about he did a malacha of kitzira, of reaping, and separately then he did a malacha of techina, he's going to be chayiv two korban chatoses. The kavasa gabe shar mitzvahs. Then so too when it comes to shar mitzvahs, ochal chelev vidam. if he were to eat chaylev, and then he would eat dam, hacha tarti mechayev, hacha tarti mechayev. In both scenarios, both on Shabbos, he'll be chayev two separate korbanos, a korban chatas for the ktsira and a korban chatas for the techina. So too, when it comes to shar mitzvahs, he'll be chayev two korbanos, one korban chatas for the chaylev and a separate korban chatas for the dam. Ella, says the Gemara, shar mitzvahs de lo mechayev ela chado. Rather, we must be saying that shar mitzvahs he's only mechayev once. Heichidami asked the Gemara, what is that case? Why on Shabbos you'll be chayev and be more stringent than in other mitzvahs? Says the Gemara, the ochal chaylev vechaylev. He went to eat two kezesim of chaylev. Behelem echad. Says the Gemara, the kavasa gabe Shabbos. The ovad ketzir v'ketzira. So too when it comes to Shabbos. If he would do one malacha of ketzira, of reaping, and then another malacha of ketzira, of reaping, under one helem echad, he's going to be chayiv also only once. Hacha chada b'chayiv, v'hacha chada mechayiv. He'll be chayiv one korban chatos in shar mitzvahs, and he'll be chayiv one korban chatos in Shabbos. So where is the stringency of Shabbos over shar mitzvahs? Says the Gemara, lo oilam do ovad ketzira v'tichina. We can go back to what we said before Gabi Shabbos, that he does two malachos. He does a malacha of ketzira, of reaping, and there's a malacha of techina, grinding. Uma masha'en came b'shar mitzvahs. What therefore referring to when it says masha'en came b'shar mitzvahs in the brisa, that he will only be chayiv once. Avodah zara, referring to avodah zara, that when it comes to Shabbos he'll be chayiv two korbanos, a korban chatas for the ketzira and a korban chatas for the techina. Masha'en came when it comes to avodah zara, even though he does many avodos, he's only going to be chayiv one korban chatas. As follows: K'der Rabbi Ami, Do'omer Rabbi Ami, Zibach v'kiter v'nisech beheloma achas, eino chayiv ela achas. If he slaughtered an animal for avodah zara, and he burned, and he gave a wine libation for the avodah zara, in one forgetful period, he's chayiv only one korban chatos. Ask the Gemara, b'mai ukimta ba'avodah zara, you're going to then say that this ratio is referring to avodah zara. The stringency of Shabbos over avodah zara, as we said, was that in Shabbos he's chayiv two korbanos, a korban chatos for ktsira and a korban chatos for techina. Masha'en came when it comes to avodah zara, which is what the Brisa meant when it said b'shar mitzvahs, he's only chayiv one korban chatos. Ask the Gemara, ema seifa. Then the seifa is difficult, because it says in the seifa, choymer b'shar mitzvahs, that there's a stringency of shar mitzvahs, in this case avodah zara, from more than Shabbos. Sheb'shar mitzvahs shogag b'loy miskavein, chayiv masha'en came b'Shabbos. In shar mitzvahs, in this case avodah zara, he's going to be shogag b'loy miskavein chayiv, masha'en came b'Shabbos. Ask the Gemara, hay shogag b'loy miskavein da avodah zara, hey chidami, what is that case of avodah zara where he's shogag b'loy miskavein? Says the Gemara, if you're going to say that he thinks that he's entering a Beis HaKnesses, but indeed it houses avodah zara, and he bows down, his heart was lishamayim, and therefore he's not going to be held accountable at all. Rather, you'll say it's talking about a case where there's a statue of, let's say, a ruler, a monarch, some sort of king, and he bows down to that statue. Heichidam, what's the case? If he accepted this statue as an avodah zara, then he's mezid. And if he did not accept this as a deity, then he's not going to be, then it's nothing at all. Ella, says the Gemara, me'ava u'me'yira. Rather, he bowed down from either the love or the fear of a person, and therefore he bowed down to the avodah zara. So the Gemara says, Hanicha la'abaye, is a machlokes over there in Sanhedrin, according to Abaye the Omar Chayiv. In such a scenario, because of fear or love of a person, he bows down to avodah zara. Abaye says he's chayiv. So that would be necha. Elo l'Rav, the Omar Potter. Ma'ika l'mei, but according to Rav that he's Potter, what will you say? Elo, says the Gemara, ba'oimer mutter. We're talking about a case where he thinks that it's mutter to be oived avodah zara. He does not know that avodah zara is osir. Masha'enkein b'Shabbos, the potter legamre. Masha'enkein in Shabbos, where he will be potter entirely. Ask the Gemara, is that so? You're going to say in such a case where he doesn't know at all that it's Shabbos, he doesn't know that the day is Shabbos, he doesn't know that there's malachas of Shabbos, he's going to be potter entirely? Ad kan lo boy mine Rava mirav Nachman. On Daf Ayin Amud Aleph Amud Beis, we learned that there's a question that Rava asked Rav Nachman. He asked him this question. He says a person does the classical shoygig on both sides, where he was shoygig not knowing that it's Shabbos, and he's shoygig not knowing that this is malacha. How many chatos will be chayiv? One chatos because of shigas Shabbos, or will he be chayiv shigas malacha several chatos? That was the shaila. Is he chayiv one or more than one? But nobody ever entertained that he's not chayiv at all. To say he's potter, entirely not. Elalav, says the Gemara, reisha ba'avodah zara v'sefer b'shar mitzvahs. Rather, you have to say that the reisha of the Brisa was talking about avodah zara. When it's said in the Brisa that there's a stringency of Shabbos over avodah zara, it's talking about b'shar mitzvahs, referring to avodah zara. Like we said before, that when it comes to Shabbos, he does 2 malachos, he's chayiv 2 korbanos. Masha'enken, when it comes to avodah zara, even though he does several avodos, he's going to be chayiv only 1 korban chatos. That's the ratio of the brisa. And the seif of the brisa is talking about shar mitzvahs, not avodah zara, but shar mitzvahs. V'shogag b'lo miskavim v'shar mitzvahs heichi dami. The Gemara wants to know, what is that case? Disover dishuman hu v'ochloi. He thinks that he's eating permissible fat, shuman, and he eats it. Masha'enkin b'Shabbos, the potter. Masha'enkin b'Shabbos, he would be potter. The niskavein lachtoich es hatalush. That's the case now, comes back to Rava's proof, where he intends to cut that which is talush, detached. The chotach es hamechubar, potter. And he cuts that which is attached, he's going to be chayiv. And he's going to be potter, rather. In other words, Rava says the stringency of shar mitzvahs, in the case where he thinks that it's shuman, but indeed it is chaylev, since over there, even though it's true he intends to eat shuman, but since he has hana when eating the chaylev, you can't construe that to be misasik. And therefore Rava says over there he's chayiv. Masha'enkin b'Shabbos, in Shabbos, this is the case that we referred to before, where Rava says potter, where he intends to cut talush, but instead he cuts mechubar. That he says is misasik, that's why he's potter. V'Abaye shogag below miskavin hechidami. Abaye, he says that the case that Rava was referring to is going to be indeed chayiv. If he intends to not only eat shuman and eats chaylev, he's going to be chayiv. Also, when he intends to cut that which is talush and he cuts mechubar, he's going to be chayiv also. So according to Abaye, what is the case of shogag below miskavein in the brisa? Hechidami, the sova roik hu ubeloy. He thinks that the saliva that he has in his mouth is saliva, but instead it's actually liquefied chaylev. And therefore, he intends only to swallow it. So he's going to be chayiv. Masha'enkin b'Shabbos, the potter, whereas in such a case, he will be potter on Shabbos. When it comes to the rok, even though he intends to then only swallow it, which is not derech achila, but since he is nene from the chaylev, he's going to be chayiv. We don't consider that to be a misasik, and therefore he's going to be chayiv. Masha'enkin b'Shabbos, in such a scenario, he would be potter. The potter diskavin lagbias hatalush v'chotach es hamechubar. Potter. He intends to pick up the knife, the first scenario that we spoke about in the beginning, where he first picks up the knife that dropped from him, and as he's picking up the knife, accidentally, inadvertently, and being misasek, he cuts that which is mechubar. There, Abaye says you're potter, because he has no intention to cut whatsoever. It's completely a case of misasek. Aval niskavin lachtoich es hatolush v'chotich es hamechubar chayiv. But the case that Rava says, where he intends to cut that which is talush and instead cuts that which is mechubar, says Abaye, that is going to be chayiv because he intends to cut. and therefore that's not a case of misasek.